I thought a good place to start with for your experience in the Army would be your 21st birthday and what you were doing when you turned 21, because you did not have the typical 18 to 21-year-old college experience. So I thought for me and for other people to get a taste what you were going through at the time, where were you when you turned 21? What was going on? What were you doing?
That story, my 21st birthday, okay, so I was, let's see here, I deployed to Iraq in September of 2003, so this is several months after the ground force-led invasion to take the country, and so it was a sporadic period where things had, from a military standpoint, where a national military like the Iraqi military had been dissolved, and those fighting forces, especially the leaders, some of the officers and the higher ranking enlisted and things like that, started to form their own separatist groups and Ba'ath Party members, and this was the insurgency in the very infancy. And I showed up in September of that with the 10th Mountain Division, and so I was 20 years old at the time, and my 21st birthday wasn't until July 1st. So that was deep into the deployment. It was actually into my second deployment into Iraq. So I remember I was in this, it's a power plant. It's a thermal power plant where essentially they burn oil for electricity. Okay, and I got some stories about that as well. But we're at this FOB, right? And the name of it was FOB Chosen, and it eventually became FOB Musaib, Forward Operating Base Musaib, and it was on the Euphrates River, and we had occupied a hard structure. I'm not sure what it was before. What it would have been used as for the operation of the plant, but when we got there, it was pretty much abandoned, or maybe it was an admin building or something, and we used it for our platoon headquarters. And I remember being in that building, and I don't know if we were in mission prep or what we were doing, but we were in the wire, which means inside the compound for the day, and we were just going about our usual business, and people were from my platoon were coming by and, like, wishing me happy birthday and things like this. Everybody knew it was my birthday, and the joke is, like, if you turn 21 in Iraq, right, you can't crack the bottle or drink. And at the time, I have a long history and a steep dive into alcohol over the years after that, but up until that point, I hadn't really experimented or really drank a lot of alcohol, and everybody was bruising me.
That was a running joke where if you turned 21 in Iraq, you had to wait to crack the bottle. You weren't allowed to do it while you were deployed there.
Yeah, you're not allowed to drink on deployment. I mean, there are some stories of some NCOs and stuff getting bottles off the gate guards, or getting bottles off the locals down by the gate and stuff like that. There's a black market everywhere.
Yeah, like under the table. Exactly.
And those stories were some of those stories are just like pure and complete comedy. Just picture like soldiers surviving and doing their thing at war, but also trying to act like 20-year-olds and 24-year-olds and 25-year-olds, like in the brief moments they have sometimes. So I was in the we were all around the house we had acquired, and around the yard and stuff, doing typical platoon stuff, cleaning weapons, cleaning gear, fortifying things, doing stuff like that, when we had this, at the time we were getting like pretty heavy volleys. For the time, they were heavy, incoming, right? So rocket and mortar combined fire. So the rockets were usually like, they had 107s they would use a lot. So, and they would sometimes bump it up to like 120s. So those are fairly small rockets. You'll see a lot of them used in the Israeli conflict and stuff like that. So they launched, I think there was 80 or 90 of them on that day. Anyways, we all run for cover, run inside the building, and here I am. You pick a door frame, right? Because that's like the hardest part. So here I am, hunkered in a door frame, and then right across from me is another bedroom, and my team leader's in that door frame. There's a dude frame. We're all joking and like, ha ha ha. Like, can we swear on this?
Oh yeah, 100%. No, watch your fucking language on this podcast.
All right, very well. Yeah. So the expletives were running wild, and I'm like, fucking 21st birthday in a doorway in some pump house in Iraq. As the steel rain was falling outside. So that was my turn to 21, and then it was business as usual as soon as that ended. So.